The score going into this game, this encounter that's just happened just now with this Fide Master Oscar is, dare I say it, 5-1 to the Fide Master. So this is a good game to play, and it's more on the Nigel short line in the Tarrasch, the early f6 move against the Tarrasch, or the Tarrasch. Sorry, I always get that wrong. And I'll just grab a prop. No, I won't. I'll grab my wee friend here. See, my wee friend from my mother's table. So my mother's table there, and another dog that looks everything that goes on and sees all the things that are happening around here. So there you go. So we're going to have a look at this line once again. This is an extra hot off the press video for me now. Don't usually do 2 videos in a day, but sometimes something comes up, and this game is it, the 3-minute encounter, where I can show you again a little bit more of the ideas surrounding Nigel Short's 1980s sort of chess opening contribution to the well-known Tarrasch French defense. So here we go. Let's have a look at this. Hope you like this. So this is all because of that knowledge of that chess opening that I have from Nigel Short all those years ago out of the Chess Informator. We start off with the opening moves, knight d2, and so here I play knight c6, and knight gf3 happens from this Fide Master Oscar with 5-1 under his belt. Knight f6 happened, e5, knight d7, bishop d3, and by the way, this is more like the sort of game I want to show you about how good this is for black players. This represents it better than the other one the other day because I dropped the ball. Yeah? Well, maybe, but here's f6. So move 6, f6 for black, and white does not play anything that I think will be madness for black to handle in a 3-minute game like knight g5 or something, but black here was met with ef6. And I thought, what? And then I thought, oh yeah, I can take it just with my queen, which is so far the line that I've learnt from the great super grandmaster Nigel Short, castling. And then I think, hang on, my opponent has left a pawn on pre, and I think that that pawn is worth grabbing. So I grab it, and because the knight is on d2, white cannot play knight d4, queen d4, bishop g6, check, and then queen takes queen on d4 because the knight on d2 is in the way. So here came knight d4, queen d4, and rook e1. Knight f3 was also possibly an idea, but my opponent can only have one move at a time, even though in monster chess you can have, if you're white, 2 moves at a time, which is a really, really good variant for you to look into if you want to improve your defensive skills and your attacking skills for either player, and also how to checkmate where white has always got 2 moves under their sleeve or in their sleeve. Queen f6, and here's knight f3, bishop d6. This is just about looking normal to me according to what I saw in the chess informators back then in the 1980s. bishop g6, and here comes bishop g5, a move that I have had in this situation before. So I quickly played really the only move, queen f7. Thereby I'm still looking and attending to my pawn on e6, that it doesn't get captured. Here's c4, c6, cd5, cd5. My opponent did not go berserk mode, nor did I. This game is now 22 minutes ago. It's one of the only 2 games I played. Queen e2. Now I must do something about my e6 pawn, so I play knight c5, bishop b5. This was a little bit annoying, I tell you. Bishop d7. I just think, well, if you capture, I'm capturing with my queen. If you play b4, I'm playing knight e4, and thereby I cover up my weakness e6. b4, knight e4 anyway instead. Bishop d7, queen d7. a3, and I castle. What's the threat? The threat is, of course, taking the horse with rook f3 and then knight g5. My opponent, of course, being a Fide Master, sees this, plays bishop h4, and hereby or thereby I play rook a e8, consolidating my e6 pawn, but not my e5 square. Bishop g3, what would you play now? Knight g3, bishop g3, bishop f4, e5. They are the ideas that I think are here. I chose the latter, e5. Rook a d1. Now white is pestering my pawn d5, and yes, I missed it. I missed knight c3. That's it in a nutshell. I missed knight f3, knight c3. I can't even get it right. Knight c3. I missed that move here. And played queen f7. As soon as I played queen f7, I thought, I missed knight c3. That's what I thought. Then my opponent, almost like out of sympathy probably, played queen a2. And I thought, yes, now is my chance. I played knight c3 and queen b3. And I'm not going to sit there and look at it. I'm going to go knight d1. Rook d1 and d4, swapping queens, please. Can we have a queen swap? Yes, came the answer. And king f7, knight g5. This is a pawn threat. King g6, knight e4, bishop b8. I like to have my bishop hiding away on the b8 square. It's defended there as well, so it's not going to have a nasty knight e6 check if it's on c7, etc. Bishop b8, knight c5, b6. I'm going to have to look after my pawns. I was expecting maybe knight d7 here, but my opponent played knight e4, which is a sensible idea. Not to swap off pieces when you're a piece down or an exchange down. So when you're down in material, don't swap off pieces. And if you're up in material, swap off pieces, not pawns. And the best thing for white to do is to swap off pawns, being an exchange down. Knight e4. Now I seize one of and the only open file on the whole board, which is the c file. Every other file has some pawn or another in the way of same. Rook c8, f3. Now we have rook c2, knight f2. This knight is annoying because it's defending white's 7th rank and g2 mainly. Rook fc8, but I must keep going on. The tendency is to actually lose this. Knight d3, king f6. Needed protection, of course, of my 1 e5 pawn. Now maybe white could play rook e1 now. That's possible and all that sort of stuff. and it's probably okay. But white didn't play rook e1 here. What would I play after that? I don't know. White played h4. I played rook 8 to c3. So that now if rook e1, then I just take the knight on d3, knight f2 and rook a3. My whole objective or subjective here is to place the rooks on the 7th rank of whites and also gobble up pawns. Rook e1, and so I just do what I say I'm trying to do, is rook a2, and of course bishop e5 is no good, as bishop e5 is winning a piece anyway, and also even though white could play knight g4 check and knight takes bishop, or rook takes, white will be having to meet rook g2 sooner or later. Rook a2, knight g4. Here's this knight g4 business. King f5, knight f2 again. White realizes, among other things, that rook g2 is a threat that isn't easy to parry. King f5, knight f2, h5 this way, preventing knight going back to g4 at a later date. Rook d1, and here we have rook d2. We have a wee bit of shuffling around here, and then we have the move bishop d6, b5. I play the move b4, bishop b4 first, but I could just play bishop c5 straight away. I played bishop b4, rook a1, bishop c5, and it is not long till the end of this game. White here played king f1. What would you play after that? Here white played king f1. I played d3, knight d3, rook g2. This is threatening the bishop, of course, but best for white would be knight takes bishop on c5, best move, than what white chose. White blundered here with bishop e1, fair enough. It is a 3-minute game, and I let out a yelp when I played the final move. I hope and believe you can see it, is of course rook g1 checkmate. That's the end of this extra read all about it. Hot cross buns for sale. Who will buy my sweet red roses? I've got some red flowers here, but not roses. Bye.